Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Insights for this very, very special. That we have a level of production here and professionalism that I am very, very excited about. It's not often we get to speak to media royalty, but we have presented to us Craig Hutchison. Hutchie, the man, the myth, the legend. We're very, very excited to have you on board. We're going to be talking all things about the super brand of SEN. We're going to be covering off exciting business developments, the Melbourne Mavericks, the SEN Studio and SEN Sync. Hutchie, over to you to take things over and talk to the team. Just as well, members, just remember, if you've got any questions, put it in the chat and we'll answer it afterwards, and put yourselves on mute. And Hutchie, over to you.
Thanks, Sam. Hey, everyone, for joining us today. Appreciate your time, and congratulations, by the way, Sam, on the 44 deals. I read that in the industry press, and it's a magnificent outcome for everyone and a great way that you're collaboratively thinking to find shared value. So hats off to you and your team, and super impressed for everyone for joining that journey. Thanks, everyone, for giving us the time to speak today. We'll keep it fast, short, and moving, and give you some cool insights into some of the innovative things that we've been up to in the sports teams and media world. And alongside me today is Shay Bolton-Brown. I'm delighted to introduce the General Manager of the netball at SEN and at the Melbourne Mavericks. Welcome, Shay.
Thank you.
We're going to hear from Shay at length, because Shay's done something that very few people have done in Australian life, is build a team from zero and from scratch in 8 months. I'm going to talk about how Shay and her team under Richard's leadership have done that, and where we've taken the journey of the Melbourne Mavericks. We are delighted today to share with you a couple of our exciting new developments in our continued pursuit, I should say, to enrich the lives of sports fans and connect brands to those fans each and every day. Now, if you've got any questions as we go along, please just drop them into the chat and we'll pick them up from there. Today, we will immerse you in the exciting new world of the Melbourne Mavericks netball team and introduce you to our revolutionary fan engagement tech product, SEN Stadium and SEN Sync. We're going to start with netball, and then we'll move on to the tech products in audio, in venue, and in stadium. But we'll start with the Mavs. Now, the Melbourne Mavericks are the newest netball team to enter the National Suncorp Super Netball League. You may be surprised to know that we own the team, owned and operated by us. And before we get into the incredible Mavs brand and team build journey, you might be wondering why we own a team. Well, let me do my best to give you a little bit of background from here. For starters, we exist to make a sports fan's day. Our avid sports-loving audiences of more than 3 million listeners have been built across 35 sport and racing stations and 14 digital radio channels, combined with our syndication business of a couple of hundred stations, our 1.5 million social users, and our 11 million users annually across SEN and out. That's high engagement. It does a little bit index towards a male 25 to 54 audience at times, but they are also passionate about sports teams and leagues. And we believe that you should be able to find your love in us, not us tell you what you should love from a sporting perspective. So the engagement is second to none, and our huge and passionate audience show their parochial passion for their sporting teams through the daily text and social interactions. We see how much a team or a league affects their mood, and our high-profile radio hosts and commentary teams see that every day. So team ownership became the logical next step in our journey. You can't get any closer to the sports fan experience than actually being in a team. We also identified that agencies such as yours perhaps were a little removed from teams and how to intersect with them and vice versa, because you want to be able to buy a full solution of sponsorship, media, business development. So we started our team journey in 2018, and we're now the proud owner of the Perth Wildcats in the NBL and the Bendigo Spirit in the WNBL. And in New Zealand, we have two teams, the Otago Nuggets in the men's competition, and in the NZNBL women's, we own, of course, the Southern Hoi-Ho. So basketball was where we began. We did identify, though, that women's sport, in particular, or women in sport, was an enormous opportunity for us to leverage our media scale to add value, to unlock opportunity for brands, and to tap into and be part of the rise of the growth in women in sport in general. And netball is at the centre of that. 1.02 million people play in Australia. 8 in 10 Australian families are in netball. And it is a huge part of every community, not only metro, but regional, where our DNA was and has begun and will forever be. So we jumped at the opportunity to bid for the 8th Suncorp Super Netball League licence, which was previously held by the Collingwood Footy Club. And we were fortunate enough to win the bid in July last year. And we're proud, I think, as a business that we, in a time of unexpected turmoil for netball, would be fair to say, that we stepped up rather than stepped down and leveraged a team here in our heartland here in Melbourne. So there we were, 8 months out from the start of the season, shiny new licence, but no name, no coach, no players. A complicated league-wide player contracting situation, to be fair. No home court, no venue, nowhere to train, no fans, and no commercial partners. Other than that, we were fine. We were good as gold. Equal parts, I guess, overwhelming and thrilling. What we did have was a good operational foundation, huge belief in the sport that it was going to be something magnificent long-term and undervalued in the short term. And there was a lot of passion and energy to unlock from the fan base, and it fitted our business in the city, in the style of content. And if you look at it now, it's unbelievable. If you fast forward to now, amazing high performance coaches, high match night experience, as you see there on the vision in the early parts of the season. Outstanding group of players who've bought into a vision. More than 30,000 Instagram followers, good crowds at games, an incredible group of commercial partners. And we even have Goose, the mascot, who's already making its presence felt on television. And we're thrilled with how everyone in the business has risen to the challenge, led by our General Manager of Netball, Shay Bolton-Brown. And Shay, I'll welcome you in now. Tell me a little bit more about the Mavs, as they become known, the brand strategy. How do you build a team from scratch? How daunting was it? And what can we learn from it?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but one that we've just absolutely loved. And as you've alluded to, it was a total blank canvas. Coming from 13 years playing at the professional level and loving this sport so deeply with that passion, I also knew there was so much we could be doing better. And so the opportunity to take the beauty of everything that we love about this sport and then identify those gaps and go, how can we actually make it even better? That was something that was just, whilst overwhelming, was just so thrilling. And so in 8 short months, we were able to create the Mavericks. And I think right in the beginning, even before we had the name Maverick, we were Maverick. Like everything we took maybe about 6 to 8 weeks to decide on the name, but everything we were doing was understanding what the gaps were and how we could create something, fly into the unknown, what's out there. If you have a look at the definition of what it means to be a maverick, it's about independent thinking. It's about going and seeing what's out there and just giving it a crack with a sense of calculated risk, I guess. So here we were with a name at our fingertips. Maverick became the filter for how we were going to grow this sport. And what we knew is that there's a whole bunch of die-hard netball fans, and we definitely didn't want to isolate them. So we know that they were going to that those people are, more is more is more is more, and they were going to love us no matter what. But then we wanted to identify who are these groups of people that are going to help grow this game to be what it isn't quite today, so that's bigger, stronger, for all the things again. And we identified these 3 groups. Now, I'll start with the independents in the middle, and this is the I am her bit. So this is athlete-centric. It's the girl on the court that is ripping up, passing, throwing, catching at the most elite level is the same as as me. I can't quite do it to that level anymore, but in the boardroom, I want to take that same fearless energy, that risk-taking, that trailblazing, that sense of independence into my life. And I think that there is plenty of mums, there's plenty of other people that take that sense of relatability to that girl on the court. And so that's definitely front and center of the brand. Now, so that's a bit of relatability. Where it becomes quite aspirational is for these little netty rebels, and this is the I want to be her piece. So these are the girls, netball has been traditionally marketed as more of a children's entertainment product. So these girls, they get to the age of 14 and they're trying to define themselves as more of an adult, not a child anymore. So they're still turning up to the games, but they're too cool to get the selfies. They're a bit too, they stop wearing their supporter gear. What we want to do is create something where they go, oh, actually netball's still cool. And they want to lean into that and, sort of get rid of that good girl sport reputation. Then finally, the girl dads. Now, this is where we're really leaning into SEN's natural audience, and this is the I am raising her piece. Now, initially, they're getting along because they love sport. Their daughter loves sport, and then that's something they can do to connect together. What our theory is, and what is proving to be true, is that once you get them in the door, they don't want to leave. They are fans in their own right. They become absolute fans of the sport, the game. They love how fearless, strong. They love that it is an absolute spectacle. And with those three target markets front and centre, we keep running that "is it Maverick" filter across it, and that's who we're speaking to the hearts and minds of. And so far, I feel like we're doing a pretty good job. Then obviously in that goes and speaks to these beautiful brands that are jumping on board. We didn't have players, we didn't have any of these things when we started talking to these brands, but they lent into the vision of what we were trying to create. Carbon Estate, Hills, we've got Lean Cuisine and Natio. They're all here because they can see what we have seen within women's sport and the opportunity with netball within that landscape. So at the end of the day, who she is, she's pushing boundaries, she's bold, she's innovative, she's thinking for herself, she's an absolute trailblazer. We want to platform superheroes, so she's got a story that inspires, no matter what that is. Could be just the moments on the court, but off court as well. And then finally, the epitome of cool, which you can see very obviously in our merch program and all the things that we're doing on and off the court. But together, I am so proud of what we've been able to create in 8 months. They're an awesome group of girls. Our coaching staff are Mavericks. Our management are Mavericks. All of it is just, it's all just coming together beautifully.
And you've done an amazing job, so congratulations. I think you've inspired everyone with the way you've built this in less than a year. Just incredible. And this wonderful leader you'll hear a lot more about in the years to come. So thank you, Shane. Stay with us because there'll be plenty of questions for you a little bit later on. And I think, hopefully you've seen, one of the things we worked on was a shared vision to grow the sport, not just grow our team within the sport. So we had, I guess, 2 challenges, right? One is to grow a team from scratch, and 2 is there's no point having a team that grows if the sport isn't healthy as well. So the media business and our SEN business, and then how it intersects with the Mavericks. And we spent a lot of time working on the shared service model or the overlap or the areas where we can turbocharge things. And I think a key strategic focus for us more broadly is the extension of our team's business across the broader SEN network. And it's become a really valuable part of our public business. Alongside broadcasting games live for fans, for instance, across the country, dedicated weekly shows for our teams, the Mavs Way, and also in our basketball vertical with the Wildcats Hour. We have coach and player interviews, game promos, EDMs. We build our own apps. We build our own team content. We have club partner messaging across the entire SEN ecosystem, delivering 360 fan engagement and mass reach for brands. It's a very unique offering in market to be an aggregated solution for media and team sponsorship in a brand world, and we can build and deliver brand campaigns via club partnerships that include national or hyper-local traditional media and digital channels to ensure the brand objectives are reached through the line. And I think that's been one of the reasons why we've attracted such an incredible brand family. I think, not to speak out of school, we would be in the top 3 or 4 sponsors in the league in terms of number and amount, and that happened really without having played a game. So I'll give you an idea of how we can leverage our known brands and our new ones to drive outcomes for them through the line, not just in the team, but through our business. And if you have a brand that's bold enough and wants to tell compelling stories that inspire and they want to own their category, please connect with us and our team about the Melbourne Mavericks. I'm sure Tamina and Dan and our team will be in further touch on that. Right, we're going to change gears a little bit here now into part 2. And we're mindful it's lunchtime for everyone and you haven't got all day. So the other area we want to talk to is we've been changing the way that sport is consumed. With the sports fan at the centre of everything, we now develop and deliver at SEN our own fan product innovation, which is now at the forefront of our business. We're passionate about building tech that gives fans the capacity to choose which broadcast commentary team they listen to live in stadium or at homes. And this is all via our SEN app. Our highly skilled in-house dev team created 2 pioneering products that have changed the way fans are consuming live sport in Australia forever. And some of this is only a month old. So strap yourself in for SEN Stadium and SEN Sync.
It's a screamer that will last for generations on this day.
As hard as this is to believe, until a month ago, you couldn't hear real-time audio on your phone in a sporting venue anywhere in the world. And now we've solved it with a 0 latency call of all 9 games of AFL footy every weekend, even the netball on the weekend, which was magnificent. And SEN Sync is the second part of this. So now on our app, you can listen in real time in home and you can listen in real time in venue. If you're at home, it's preset, and in partnership with Lumo and Drinkwise, it's preset the latency of the 7 and Fox and KO calls. So you can choose our call over the top if you want. And if you're in venue, no delays. I repeat, no delays. You look out you're at the sport on the weekend, you look out the window, sorry, not look out the window, you're in a corporate environment, you look out from your seat and you see the game in front of you, you're hearing it in real time. Now, the others are anywhere from 7 to 30 seconds delayed in their call, which gives us a huge opportunity to be the only real-time, zero latency audio in venue in the world. And so our AFL Nation call, our SEN League call over time, and others, and our cricket in particular, will get the benefit of this. And at home, as I mentioned, you just click up or down if you think our preset latency doesn't work for you, and you can dull the TV audio and you can hear our call in real time under SEN Sync. The response we've received from listeners across the country has been unbelievably positive and rewarding. And if you've got some questions on this, I'd encourage you to put them in the chat room now, or of course on the Mavericks as well, because we'll get to your questions soon. But if you look at the engagement, this has had word of mouth in stadiums like you wouldn't believe. They're telling people 1 row away, 3 rows away. You wouldn't believe it. We can now take our AirPods and hear it live real time on mobile. And for our clients, should they choose, they can tailor their creative in venue and at home differently to a normal audio experience. I'll repeat that. You could do different creative in venue. You could say the nearest store to the SCG today is here and go past for a special offer on Y. Or it could be at home when you're thinking about your home behaviours. If you thought about your other products in the house, like for whatever it may be, precision marketing for a concentrated audience of AFL fans and ultimately all sport. Netball went on the weekend, and as I mentioned, cricket and so many others will come. So if you've got some feedback, please let us know. Now, we've already rolled out SEN Sync at the start of this season. It's driven demonstratively new audience who have loved it, and everyone should be able to choose their own audio call of sport. And there's some amazing television audio products, don't get me wrong, but we hope that those who want to choose us can now do it for the first time. This is the Live Golf example in Adelaide, where people could sit at home, pair our audio to the pictures they were seeing, and they're talking about it being the product that they've been waiting for a long time. And much like SEN Stadium, SEN Sync's tech allows clients to tailor their integration and commercials to a whole new audience who might be sitting at home. It's really growing our industry, audio industry. We're growing further participation in venue, or otherwise, not ostracised, but otherwise just couldn't stand the delays. And it's growing consumers at home who now can still watch it on the television if they prefer the radio, but they can pair our call to it. 2 world firsts. And these innovations are key components of our strategy to provide sports fans with choice. It's all about choice. You should be able to choose how and what you consume when you want and find your passions. And the content we create, we cater for all sporting interests and give fans more ways to consume them. Over the last couple of years, we've seen our short-form video content from studios and commentary boxes skyrocket as a new way for fans to be immersed in the sporting experience. We're now building brands into these environments. Snackable video, very important. We're doing tailored and parochial calls out of venue now, so you can choose unbiased or biased commentary. And the latest incarnation with SEN Stadium makes the live in-stadium experience better than ever. And Sync takes the home sport consumption to a whole new level. These are products that will take a long time, we feel, for anyone to catch up with or replicate, if ever. And there's a vast array of opportunities for brands to partner with these new digital environments. Just a brief example of our AFL call, AFL Nation. It's heard on over 60 stations and 200 frequencies around Australia. You can buy it nationally. You can also, and we've now extended that audience into app, into mobile, into venue, and into home on top of that volume of stations that are hearing. It's all about distribution. And at SEN, we continue to be fanatical in our quest to deliver premium fan experiences by creating and developing teams, products, audio and television, podcasts and services that make a sports fan's day. We're passionate about working with brands, and we're brand first to connect with sports fans across Australia and in New Zealand in new and innovative ways. And we welcome any opportunity to connect with the wonderful agency intellect and the great businesses on the call in the IMAA to forge successful working relationships with you and your clients. So thanks to Shay and her team for the job you've done building the Mavericks. And we'd welcome any questions if you have them. Please place them in the chat box for the Melbourne Mavericks, SEN Stadium Sync, or our business in general. And the first question has been tabled. What are the commercial opportunities for SEN Sync? Well, there's endless amount of commercial opportunities for SEN Sync to integrate, be it commercial activity, be it integrated content, be it sculpted ads that suit at-home environments specifically. There's no wastage in that audience because we can deliver different ads in the sync product to what we can in the broader product. You could associate with sync in broadcast, take the credit for it being delivered back into home, all sorts of different areas. You can almost break it up by a region or a game or a marketplace. So it is very unique in the way we can tailor an ad experience in sync. And the same goes with SEN Stadium as well. I don't think there's another question there, Sam, but if there's one or two to finish with, have you got any questions, Shay?
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, I've got a question for you before we finish then. We might see if we get one more before we hand back to Sam.
Yep.
What was the most intimidating thing about building a team?
Intimidating thing, I think I love a challenge. So intimidating was the thing that probably lured me into the situation. And I think the prospect of the total blank canvas. I remember sitting there when I was negotiating with Richard whether or not I was going to take this position, and being in a pub where the news had just broken. I was with a bunch of netball people at the time, and they were like, I just feel sorry for that poor person that's going to have to come up with a name and find the brand and find some players and all these things. And I'm just sitting there in the fetal position pretty much and not being able to say anything. But yeah, I mean, that initial stage, but I think, you know, with that intimidation factor is like that opportunity and the thrill of it. So yeah, that's the entrepreneurial spirit.
The next question comes from the audience. I'm not sure who asked it, but it says, is the SEN Sync something that can be copied, or are we just ahead of the 8 ball in the market? We think it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to replicate. So it's unique tech. But in life, innovation is everything. So, you know, others might come up with a better version one day. We feel very strong that this is extraordinarily unique tech and a great, unbelievably well thought out product. We think it enhances the fan experience, so it makes a sports fan's day, so it fits the model. We think it drives consumption of all products, including television. So I think it's hopefully one that we can maintain a unique exclusive position on for a long period of time. The next question is, we saw the incredible success of the Matildas at the World Cup last year. What does netball need to do to piggyback off that, Shay?
Yeah, well, I think the Matildas piggybacked off netball in the beginning. So netball, I think, has been the women's sport for such a long period of time, and where we got complacent, the Matildas have come in and just showed us the way. And I think at the heart of it is storytelling. Like the Matildas documentary was something that spoke to the hearts and minds of not just female athletes, but just all of those audiences that we were talking about in the beginning. They are an incredible bunch of women that are inspiring people. And I think netball, being better storytellers, which is what the opportunity we have at SEN to do, is absolutely critical to keeping up ahead of the curve, and then pushing it forward as well. So I think in women's sport, a high tide floats all boats, or in all these things. So for us, we're trying to lead the way, not to be we want to be the best netball team in the world, but we also want to make sure that we're bringing up all of the competition around us. So whether it be every other team in the SSN or other teams in other codes, the more interest we can generate in women's sport, the better off for netball, and the better off for everyone and brands and everything. So it's just that.
And to that point on netball, we also broadcast the other teams in our other markets around the country. So you can hear in Sydney often on the weekend a Swifts game, home game, or in Brisbane on our SENQ station, you can hear a Firebirds game as well, or a Lightning game. So we are trying to support all teams. We have signage at other venues. We make a show called Centre Court, which talks about all teams, not just ours. So, and there's opportunities for brand partners to partner all of those environments in netball nationally, not just our Mavericks team through us. Just on the Matildas, I think before I hand it back to Sam, so they played a very long game. They're Australia's team, like they're the most loved team in Australia, women or men, just the most loved team. That's magnificent. And they have invested in their story, to your point, and they've connected really well with their fans. One of the opportunities netball has is that the Suncorp Super Netball League is the best league in the world, number one. So in football, our Matildas.
Oh, we just lost you.
our league. We are the number one. We are the Premier League of the world, and our heroes walk our streets every day, and you can be closer to them than anywhere else. So we think the aim of being the best netball club in the world is achievable because this is the best league in the world, and we're one of 8.
Exactly.
So that is the opportunity for netball, given this is the elite high performance league in the world.
Yeah.
I can see everyone back on Teams and Zoom there. So Sam, I might hand it back to you with our sincere thanks for your incredible way you engage our team and to all the members. We're a huge believer in what you have built and are achieving, and the way you have gone about bringing a band of agencies together under one auspice and umbrella to do greater good for our industry. So hats off to everyone on the call and your team. We really appreciate your engagement, and we appreciate the environments you create for media like today to explain a little bit more about scale and about what we're all up to individually. So well done, and I'll hand it back to you with our sincere congratulations and thanks for the opportunity today.
Thanks, Hutchie. Thanks, man, and also the SEN team for your support as well. We wouldn't be able to run and function without our partners and keeping our lights on. So for a humble not-for-profit, thank you very much. Thank you, members. Thank you for tuning in today. We'll talk to everyone soon. We'll hope to see everyone at the DigiBytes event coming up on the 21st, and talk to everyone soon. See you guys.